Hi. So, today we will have a small tutorial on SLA. It is in continuation with whatever we discussed on SLA. So, SLA, as we understand, stands for service level agreement, and it is important for any cloud service provider and cloud service consumer to have an agreement to execute this either consume or provide this service. This as we understand that when we are using cloud computing, we are basically leveraging on a third party services, which are the service providers, and the consumer things are hosted. So, it is both way to we should sign up or we should have a SLA. So, unfortunately, there is as such there is no standard, or there is rather I should say the standard is still evolving to have a standard SLA across the different services. That one of the major reason may be there are different type of services which are provided by different providers. There are different category of consumer who require services at different scale. So, nevertheless, there are some broad guideline by which these SLAs are governed. So, whenever you take a service from any service provider, let it be commercial, any of the commercial cloud like say Microsoft Azure or Google Cloud or IBM Cloud or Amazon Cloud or any cloud. So, you need to agree on some of the some agreement. So, what we have seen in our XLA talk, that how these agreements are means how this agreement can be formed, or what will be the basic underlining infrastructure for that. So, for that matter we have talked about SLO, KPIs and so forth, which allows us to build up this SLA. So, in some cases it is some of the metrics which will be there, in some cases it is policy driven, right, like where your data should reside, what should be the backup policy and so forth are more policy driven, whereas some of the agreements are more on parameter based, like what is the uptime or CPU usage or disk usage. These are some of the things which are metrics. So, what we will do, we will try to look at one or two problem. Before that, we will see that how different parameters are considered in different type of SLAs, right. In different type of commercial, right. We have taken these from again from internet resources, primarily from commercial providers like Azure, IBM, Google and Amazon and others. So, the idea is to say that how they frame their things in a way. So, before looking at those things, those stuff, we just see as we have discussed earlier this slide, like it is a formal agreement between or contract between the provider and consumer, foundation of consumer trust on provider, and sometimes vis-a-vis, that how the providers wants to have this consumer on the things. Purpose to define a formal basis for performance and availability of service provider guarantees to deliver. And as we have talked about SLOs, like objectively measurable condition for services, and SLA, SLO basic for the selection of cloud provider. This we have seen, just I have kept the one slide, so that things will be there. So, we will discuss this two problem and then try to look at some of the aspects of how how this commercial cloud and other things they look at. How they define. So, like let us have a simple problem, like suppose a cloud guarantee service availability of 99% of uptime, right. Let a third party application runs in the cloud for 12 hours a day. At the end of 1 month, it was found that there is a outage of 10.75 hours. Find out whether the provider has violated the initial availability guarantee, right. So, very straightforward. So, it gives in the SLA as 99% of time. Let third party runs a cloud for 12 hours a day, end of a month it is 10.75, and we want to find out whether the provider has violated the initial availability guarantee, right. So, if we look at this problem, so the total time for which the application to run in a month is equal to 12 cross 30, 360 hours, right. Now, what we say outage time is 10.75 hours. This has been declared, this has been given. So, therefore, service duration equal to 360 minus 10.75 hours. So, percentage availability equal to 1 minus 10.75 by 349.25 into 100, which is 96.92, right. So, this much percentage availability will be there. This you can straightforward calculate. So, what it has, it was there initial service guarantee was 99%. So, hence as final service guarantee, so final service availability is less than initial service guarantee. So, what we can conclude that the service cloud service provider CSP, if we say, has violated the SLA. Okay. So, it is a very straightforward simple arithmetic, right. But what we see that if we can somehow measure this type of things, I can as far as the availability is concerned, we can basically calculate whether the SLA violations are there. If there is a set of SLAs which need to be looked into for every component, we can have this sort of simple calculation, and or in some cases it may be little complex when you want to do some statistical analysis to find out something, and then you can say that this is whether the SLA violation is there or SLA has been honored or not, right. So, this way we can calculate this whether this any SLA is satisfied or not, right. Okay. So, this is pretty straightforward, but in reality it may not be that straightforward. I can have different type of availability at different point of time. For that matter, I can say that if I consider a commercial say for example a banking organization. So, the SLAs I can say that during my peak hours, like I say 9 to 1700 hours, I require a availability of 99.9%, whereas in off peak hours like 700 to say I can divide them into different scale, I can say that 700 to 1700 to these hours, I can have 99%, whereas 1900 to next day 0800 hours, I can still bring down to say 97%, and 0800 to 0900 hours, I can say it is something again 99%. Now, what I mean to say, this availability requirement may also vary over time, right, based on your business requirements, right. So, based on your requirement, things will vary. Like a institute like us, I say that if our labs are running between 2 to 5, or say morning in the morning session 2 to 6, or in the morning session 8 to 12. So, during those lab hours I require a high percentage of availability. However, during the off peak hours or evening hours, I may require much reduced things, because more you guarantee the services, more you pay for it, right. So, that is required. So, there may be more complex calculation to look at, right. So, similarly we can we look at another problem which is little bit extension of the other of the previous one. So, we consider a scenario where a company X, a service provider X, a company X want to use cloud service from a provider P. So, there is a company X which wants to use a provider P, like say IIT Kharagpur wants a cloud service from external world or anything. The service level agreement guarantees negotiated between the two parties prior to initiating the business are as follows. So, before that, the service level guarantees are like this, like availability guarantee is 99.595% time over the service period. So, the service period, it should be 99.95% time. Availability period is 30 days, maximum service hour per day is 12 hours, and cost say $50 a day, right. So, this is the type of agreement or type of requirement, and that formal requirement which has been agreed upon within the service provider and the service provider. So, availability 99.95%, service period 30 days, maximum service hours per day is 12 hours, and cost is $50 a day, right. So, service credits are awarded to the consumer if availability guarantees are not satisfied, right. So, there is another part, like if the provider fails to provide service at the guaranteed level for which it has been agreed upon and the consumer is charging, then he has to pay the penalty, right. So, penalty can be in terms of monetary terms, or the penalty can be in terms of giving some extra compute hour or data or whatever way it plays. So, in this case availability guarantee not satisfied, monthly connectivity uptime service level are given as, like if monthly uptime percentage is less than 99.95%, but more than 99%, greater than equal to 99%, then the service credit is 10%, right. Whereas, if it is less than 99%, then the service credit should be 25%, right. However, in reality it was found that over the service period the cloud service suffered 5 outages, right, during for these following durations, like one is 5 hours 30 minutes, one is 1 hour 30 minutes, one is 15 minutes, 2 hours 25 minutes, each on different day. So, this due to which normal service guarantees were violated, right. If if SLA negotiation are honored, we need to compute the effective cost payable towards buying these cloud services, right. So, this we need to check that how much effectively need to be paid by the consumer for these cloud services, right. So, that is fine. So, again just to quickly repeat. So, there are some of the guarantees are there, availability 99.95%, service period 30 days, maximum things 12 hours, $50, and there are some penalty for not providing the services less than 99.95%, but greater than equal to 99% is 10% and less than 99% is 25%, and there are 5 outages, 5 hours 30 minutes, 1 hour 30 minutes, 15 minutes and 2 hour 25 minutes. We need to find out that the effective cost payable towards the buying the cloud services, right. So, this we would like to work on, again not a difficult problem, but it gives us a idea the how things works. So, service period duration is 30 days, right. $12. So, total, so therefore, we have total so much hours or 360 hours. Cost what we have seen $50 per day. So, total cost so this is at the time of service negotiation is $50 cross 30 or this is fine. So, these are the facts what we have given. 30 days service duration per day is 12 hours as we are doing. Total service uptime is expected this one $50 this, $50 per day is the cost, and total cost at the time of service negotiation is 50 into 30 $1,500 that is the thing. Now, total service downtime is 5 hours plus 30 minutes plus 1 hour 30 minute plus 15 minute plus 2 hours 25 minute, right. So, if you add up it is 9 hours 25 minutes. Okay. So, this is the total outage time or the total downtime for the things, right. So, we can say service availability equal to 1 minus this we have seen previously also, and this is a standard thing 1 minus downtime by uptime equal to what we can say 1 minus 9 hours 25 minutes by 360 hours so much percentage. So, this fine. So, this was our total expected outtime, and this is the outage or the downtime. So, 1 minus downtime by uptime and so forth, and so what we have the 97.385%. Okay. So, this is fine. We calculate the service availability as 97.385%. So, as per this data available. So, what we see monthly uptime percentage is 97.385 as we have calculated, which is less than 99%, right. Not only 99.5%, but less than 99%. So, service credit available due to that whatever the during that service negotiation or SLA things were there, 25% of total cost. Okay. So, it is total cost as we have calculated 1500. So, it is $375. So, effective cost payable towards buying the service equal to $1500 minus $375 equal to $1125. So, this is the effective cost there. So, what we see that based on the outage, so it is if you look at the problem 2, it is the extension of the means little bit extension of the first problem, but these are in reality things happens, right. So, we need to measure these things, log these things and calculate the things accordingly, right. So, this is with respect to the uptime, and there can be with respect to means it may not be total down, but your availability bandwidth may be means availability in the network may be slow and type of things. So, it depends on lot of other aspects. So, it is not that always this straightforward, but there are a lot of other complex consideration in doing so. So, what we tried in these two problem to show that how a SLA guarantees can be calculated or looked into and type of means how it can be calculated and see that whether there is a violation of SLAs or not, right. So, this I believe this will give you a broad means broad idea or a things of the there. So, now what we will see that in like what are the different best practices or what are the different components like what we have calculated is the uptime. So, what are the other different components of the of SLA which are considered by primarily the commercial cloud, right. So, that just a couple of things we will see, right. So, SLA for cloud service provider already we have seen, but just to so, some of the aspects which we would like to highlight this like in case of commercial cloud, what things that there is a applicable monthly period, right, which means for a calendar month in which the service credit is owed the number of days you are a subscriber of a service, right. So, it is the applicable service period. Similarly, applicable monthly service fees, right. So, the concept of downtime, like as we have seen services in the service specific terms below. Error code means the indication that the operation has failed such that HTTP status code is 5xs or something, right. So, that is services should have a error code, because otherwise you will it is difficult to find pinpoint that which services has failed and type of things. External connectivity is a bidirectional network traffic support like protocol for HTTP or HTTPS can receive a public IP and so forth, where the external connectivity. Incident means any single or a set of incident that result in downtime. Management portal means that the web interface provided by this is basically meant for Microsoft Azure. So, through which the consumer may manage the services, like that a management portal. Service credit, if there is a failure, that how much credit will be given, that we have seen in this problem. Service level means the performance metrics is set forth in the SLA, and in case of Microsoft Azure, it agrees to meet the delivery of services. Service resource, success code, like as we have seen failure code, we have a success code, like in HTTP we know that 2xx is the success code. Support window refer to the period of time during which the service feature or compatibility with the separate product services is supported. So, there is a support window where the things will be there. Along with that, there are some additional definition, like availability set refers to 2 or more virtual machine deployed across different fault domains. So, that it will not go for downtime at the same time at the same period to avoid single point of failure. Cloud services refers to the compute resources utilized for web role and worker role. Fault domain is a collection of servers that share common resources, which are power and network connectivity. Tenant represent one or more roles, that is one or more role instances that is deployed in the single package. This we have seen, like it can be a worker role, it can be a web role type of thing. Update domain refers to a set of, in this case Microsoft Azure instances which platform updates are concurrently applied. Virtual machine, this we know. VNet, there is the virtual private network, and this also is known that web role and worker role. So, these are some additional definitions which will be utilized for service level for SLA calculations, right. So, similarly, as we have seen here in our example, here if you can see the monthly uptime calculation and service level for cloud services using those definitions. The monthly available minutes is the total accumulated minutes during a billing period for all interface facing roles, and 2 or more instances deployed in different update domain. Similarly, downtime is that how much time, and uptime percentage is the maximum available minutes minus downtime by maximum available minutes, like that we have calculated here, right. So, that is the thing, and there can be service credit rules, as we have seen, right. 99.95% 10, this exactly the same type of values we have used. Similarly, this is for calculation and service level for cloud services. Similarly, we can have for the VMs, right. So, VMs like I want to have infrastructure as a service and the virtual machines are allocated similarly. So, maximum available minutes is the total accumulated time, billing period and so on and so forth. Downtime is similarly it is calculated, and we can have same type of service credit. So, it can be at what we mean to say, it can be at different type of level. It can be at a IaaS level, it can be a SaaS level or any SaaS level. I can have as a storage level of if there is storage downtime or accessibility problem and so on and so forth. So, this need to be clearly specified. Now, when we want to do these type of things, so what are the different best practices or rules we need to follow, right. So, that we let us see some of the best practices what are followed. So, the Cloud Standard Custom Council, right, provides cloud consumer with 7 steps they should take when the evaluating the SLAs, like it is also provided in their document of April 2012, right. So, identify the cloud actors. Who are the actors? According to NIST architecture, so these are the actors: consumer, producer or the provider, carrier, broker and auditor. So, these are the 5 actors which are there as per NIST. So, we need to evaluate the business level policies. right. This is important. What will be the data policies, SLA guarantee, list of services not covered under this, excess uses, payment penalty, subcontract services, license software, industry specific standards, and these are different aspects of the things. So, what we are discussing about simple SLAs, in actually the things are more complex, like what should be the data policies, how, which are covered, which are not covered, if there is a subcontract of services, what should be that policies, whether you are using license software, so licensing mechanisms and so on and so forth, right. Because most of the cases when we try to use this, we may be using different license software, and those licensing cost etc. come into play. Not only that, licensing period and so on, other things come into play. Then we need to understand that which level of operations we are looking at, SaaS, PaaS or IaaS, because the different type of things are the different type of services have different type of requirement. In some cases SaaS is much easier to control maybe or measure, but we need to look at that which type of services we are leveraging on, whether we are having multiple this sort of services. So, you need to understand what SaaS, PaaS, IaaS are about and which type of cloud it is running, whether it is a public, private or hybrid. Terms and conditions in SLA depend on the complexity of control variables that are that the provider gives to the consumer or the service consumers. So, now consumer need to calculate that availability etc. For that, the control variables are provided by the provider. Like I say, it gives me the CPU uptime etc. or different usage time or hard that disk uses parameters. So, these are the different control parameters provided. Now, more the complexity of this parameter depends on which level of operations you are doing and where you are running the things, like it is IaaS, PaaS or SaaS, or whether it is a hybrid or your public or private. So, the other things are, one is that metric what we are discussing about, to identify what metrics should be used to achieve performance objectives, right. Some examples of availability, ability response metrics are like metric name in SLA, like availability and other type of things. There may be other constants, method and frequency of collection of this data is also important. The aspect, the next aspect is the security, like consider key security parameters for cloud, including asset sensitivity, legal regulatory requirements, like I may say that the data should reside within this particular geographical boundary or within this type of things. Cloud provider security capabilities, what is the capability of the cloud provider to provide that. Then we have service management requirement, to need to identify the service management requirement. So, what should be monitored and reported, for example, load performance, application performance, or what should be metered, right, what you need to be billed and metered. How rapid provisioning should be, like speed, testing, demand, flexibility, and how resource change should be managed, right. So, how is the provisioning, what need to be monitored and reported and metered and type of things need to be looked into. And then prepare for or manage for the failure, right, that is another important exit. Determine what remedies should be provided, like for example, service credits, and what are the liability limitations. So, how much service credit I need to provide and what are my liabilities from the provider point of view, and in order to that what the consumer are signing off. How the disaster recovery plan will work when needed. So, how the disaster recovery plan will work when it is needed. An exit clause should be a part of every cloud SLA, right. In either the consumer or the provider wants to terminate the relationship. So, SLA what it is there, it is a agreement. So, what should be the exit clause? Suppose the consumer at some point of time to exit, or the providers says that I am not able to provide the thing. So, that should be in the things. So, what we says that these are some of the essential best practices or some best practices we should keep in mind when formulating the SLA etc., like identifying cloud actors, evaluate business level policies, understand this type of services, what are the different metrics, security capability of the and requirement, security requirement of the consumer and the capability of the provider, service management requirements, and how to manage failure or what should be the remedies for failure. So, what we tried, this is a what we say a extension of the SLA already we have discussed. So, what we tried to give that there are different aspect to the things, and tried to in this thing we have also seen two simple SLA related problem, how it can be how this type of SLAs are calculated, though the problems are very simple and straightforward, but it gives us an idea that how you can approach this type of things. So, let us conclude here for this SLA tutorial. Thank you.